Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a very special morning. The Browns won last night.
For the first time in 635 days.
Okay, that wasn't necessary, but the Browns won last night. So this is very, very good. Put me in a good mood last night. I slept all night, so I'm going to be dangerous today.
I'm glad to hear it.
Glad to hear it. It's about time. So this is a great subject, and we're going to use sports analogies because they're so obvious, but we've got to turn the obvious over into what we can expect of our performance in salons. Because as a fan of sports, I don't care what team you root for, you expect them to win. And you can tell with just the eye test, if they're in, if they're all in, if they're being too casual. You can tell if they don't have the hustle that's necessary to win a game. And you know what? So can customers in businesses that they spend their money in. It's the same thing. They have an expectation of performance, right?
Right.
Is that a good start? So all in, love all in. Yes? I should have been in newscasting, Brian.
Yeah, you like the papers.
Enter, I like it. Okay, so, I gotta do page up. Let's define it. You know, when I was looking up the definitions, it was kind of a slang. All in isn't something that you can find an official definition for.
It really came about with the Texas Hold'em craze.
Oh.
And then it spilled over. It became a kind of a colloquialism. What is that? A
Colloquialism.
Yeah.
Turn of phrase.
So it carried on.
It
started with all in, putting all your bets on the table.
Yeah, I can
everything
remember.
in, you're committed. Win, lose. You either win big or you're done.
Oh, and you know what? I didn't even think of that, but I love this, to put all one's energy and enthusiasm into what he or she is doing. And to me, that makes sense. When you can see and you can feel the effort and the love of what someone is doing, the enthusiasm, that energy that's required to really show someone, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
That is, you can maybe not be the most talented, but you can have the most enthusiasm and energy. And that makes up for a lot. You know who I think of? And Gino's the first one to say this. Gino said he wasn't the best hairdresser, right? We've said that in other recordings. But what he was is Gino's energy. It's really unmatched in many ways. And his enthusiasm and how he presents himself, you just want to be a part of it. You want to witness it. And what's the two things he says after he spends time with someone? They should either want to get a haircut because he makes his craft and his love for it sound so wonderful, or they want to become a hairdresser like him.
Well, and if you think about it, think about the people that we really follow or that we know in our industry, whether it be Gino Stampora, whether it's Robert Cromines.
Yes.
He has a great energy and something that draws you into him.
Laughs at his own jokes. Both of them do, Gino and Robert.
This is true.
They think they're hysterical.
And then you've got somebody like Paul DeGrigley, who is all energy all the time when he's speaking. Those energy attracts us. It always has. And so when it's all in, I think back to something as simple, and I didn't think of it when I first previewed this data, but this silly little wedding dance, hokey pokey. Think how the energy raises when you put your whole self in.
Put your whole self.
And everybody has a blast, and everybody's energy is through the roof.
And you're laughing at each other.
But so important is the symbolism of that. When you put your whole self into something, when you're all in, that's when we can really make a difference. That's when we take people along with us. That's when people want to be part of it. You create that all-in energy. I don't care if you're walking down the street and you see a commotion. There's a natural part in all of us to go see what that's about.
Yeah, everyone raises their head. So we had dinner the other night, the four of us, Steve and I and the two children, Jack and Emma. She's 13 and he's 11. And I looked up and Emma's on her phone, Steve's on his phone, Jack, I don't know. Was Jack on his phone? Jack was on your phone. Yeah. Okay, so I must have sighed my I'm not happy sigh. And Steve looked up and said, Jack, put the phone away. Your mother wants to be entertained. And it's not that I wanted to be entertained. I wanted to dine all in as a family, not just sit there and be ignored. I mean, we've got to be able to teach that, and we're losing that on so many levels. And to put the phone away and look in each other's eyes and have something to say, have something to communicate and be vested. You know, I wrote a post yesterday about my childhood. I didn't do it right, of course. You're supposed to copy and paste and personalize it to your grown-up experience. But one of the things I put in there is when we were growing up, we played board games for hours. And you had to talk. You had to communicate. Why is my generation and the ones before me better at communicating than the ones now? It's because we were forced to have that as our method of engagement with others. And what I worry about is this still has to be a key part of who we are and how we present ourselves to the community, is that we can create connection with our guests. And sometimes I'm walking in and I have to tell you, the energy is just flatline. It's boring as heck. It doesn't have that magic, and it's not the music's responsibility to create an upbeat tempo, it's the staff's. If we need things to assist us to create energy, that's one thing, but we don't have the right music, that's why there's no energy in here. No. We don't have the right people creating energy. That's why it's got a negative environment. Okay, so let's remind us. I love this. We probably use this in everything that we do. It's leadership's job to manage the talent. It's the employee's job to manage the effort and enthusiasm. And this takes a lot of effort and focus to do that. I don't know how to help people realize that it's a leader's job when they walk in a room to be obvious that you arrived, obvious that you've got standards, obvious that you have expectations of performance. If you walk in and it doesn't matter that people don't need to stand up straight or walk better or talk better, you're lacking some leadership there. It's funny, I went to Cole's game briefly yesterday, and his coach, this is fall, just seeing what their talent's made of before they play spring ball at the college level. And coach was coaching third, but his focus yesterday wasn't on anything but base running. He didn't say anything about pitches. He didn't say anything about what happened at the plate. Everything he was coaching yesterday, he was focused absolutely on base running. Wow, was he giving some coaching out there? One time he said, you can't tiptoe around. You've got to commit. Either you're going or you're not going, but don't play like you don't know what you're doing out there. It looks ridiculous. And, we all heard it. You've got to commit. You've got to commit. And, there's times when I think you've got to commit is great dialogue for leaders to use in salons. You have to commit to what you're creating with that customer, not half be there. I mean, it's a really strong point. And leadership has to be coaching all of the time, everything you see. So if you want it, this is something I'm saying to Cole right now. Cole, God bless you. But if you want this bad enough, if you want to go on and play 4 years, how could you ever let someone out-effort you? Effort is not, I didn't say how could you let someone have a better batting average than you? How can you let someone make more defensive plays or steal more bases? I didn't say that. I said, how could you ever let someone out-effort you? And I don't get that. I think that maybe it's when people aren't natural. And many things in my life I've accomplished, I wasn't a born natural at. I had to create the talent, create the love of it, create the obvious commitment to it. And how can you ever let someone out-effort you? And you're looking for effort from your team. Do you love the game? Do you love doing hair? God, act like it. Act like it. And that's the thing that I'm looking at, even when I'm watching people in business. I want to be a great hairdresser. Then act like it, and make the decisions that absolutely radiate from you that you love what you're doing and you don't want to do anything else, and that you know how to be absolutely focused for the schedule that you're there, no interruptions, no conversations, no excuses. Act like it. And what does that presence look like? You know, when I walk in a room and I think about what am I drawn to? What am I drawn to? This morning I had we go to a very, very special dental office, and there's 35 employees there each shift. And I was called in, and the greeting was perfect. The professional introduction they came out to get me was perfect. The energy created. They never leave their patient. That's a rule. You talk, you engage, you talk about things, and I'm going to give some examples of some of the things that she said today. I learned from her just while I was sitting in the chair, and I said, I'm going to share that today with the people that we're giving a message to. They love what they do there, and if they don't, wow, they got people fooled.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an operation, it's pretty sleek.
It's impressive.
It is. 35 people in a dental office each shift. That means they've got 70 employees. I mean, it's moving. And first of all, who likes the dentist? And I don't. I don't think anyone does. And I had impressions today, and it was awful. And she just kept talking. You've got 4 more minutes. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. That'll help you think of something else. Stay with me. You're doing great. How are you? Just nod to me that you're with me, okay? 30 seconds left. Hold on. Have some fun with this. I'm thinking, get it out of here. But they have this, they've really worked on what could be the customer's perception of a dental office, and they've done everything opposite to create a difference, right? Mm-hmm. Even the dentists themselves are very, very personable. So we're going to be talking more about, do you love the game and have the presence? I was telling Cole, every game I write what I see. And even Kate, our 14-year-old niece, is going to state for middle school, and I called her yesterday. I said, are you ready? Yes. And do you have your list? And what are you working on for the game? It's getting them ready to win. I think once people graduate from school and they join us, we forget about our responsibility to get them ready to win.
Yeah, and I love the acronym for WIN is what's important now.
Oh.
And sometimes that's what leadership is, and that's what, do you love the game and your presence? What's important right now? What should your team be focusing on now, today? How should we sound? How should we look? What should our guests see when they look at the business from the waiting area? What should they see when they look at the business from the wash house or the shampoo area? What should they see when they're sitting in a chair of one of your fellow stylists? And there's a buzz, there's a sound that the business makes. Mm-hmm. There's an energy that the business has. There's a presence that the business has. It's going to happen. It has it whether we know it or not.
Well, it has one right now, whether it's good or not.
Right.
Right.
And so what do we want it to be? And how do we lead that? That's the thing. We're either leading it to where it is, or we're going to lead it to where we want it to be. And that's the choice. As leaders, that's the choice you make every single day. You're leading, you're influencing. Leadership is about influence. Nothing more, nothing less. But sometimes our influence isn't what we say we want. It's inconsistent with what we say we want, what our values are, what our end game is.
Give an example.
Well, we can say that we're all about this energy. We're all about great customer service. And then we walk in as a leader, and while we're working with our guest, it's not obvious that we love it. Or we're in the previous conversation that we had with a troubled employee, or the fact that the front drawer didn't balance last night, or the deposit didn't get to the bank, or we had an employee not show up for work this morning, came in 30 minutes late. So but we're still giving off that energy. We're giving that off in the business. And Is it something that's going to create the right influence to help our people focus on what's important now and have the business have the sound, the song, the energy that we want it to
We
have?
talk
That's
about,
a choice.
we talk about this a lot in private too.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm on this. It's something I really, really pay attention to, like sanitation. And I think that it doesn't say, do you know the game?
Right.
You know, knowledge does not mean presence. I don't care what you know. I want to care as a customer. I don't care that you know how to balance the drawer. It's this keystroke and that keystroke. And I know I'm the fastest here. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about having the presence in the business that says we are PSC. We are here. How can I be of assistance to you? I'm going to find the answer for you. See, it's not about knowing it. It's about loving it and positioning it. There's a big difference. I don't know everything here. God, I mean, there's things that you can bring up IT right now. Don't laugh, Brian. You can bring up IT right now, and there's many times in conversations with Brian that I say that's over my head. I don't even know what you're talking about. It sounds Chinese to me. What I'm looking for him right at that moment is his love of IT, telling me he's got it. We're in good hands. We're going to position it. I'll pull you in. I'm looking for confidence. I'm looking for presence of that. If he goes, you know, hey, yeah, I don't know. Well, now I go, all right, well, now I don't know either, and now I'm questioning. So there's a difference there. You're looking for, every employee should create for other employees that you're in good hands with me here. You're in good hands. And then that transfers immediately to the customer because it's cause and effect all the way down, right? What were you going to say? You brought up an email.
Well, I emailed someone yesterday for the first time from the school. It was a salon owner that I've never met who employs 2 of our graduates. And they were having some challenges signing up for their state board exam. And it had gotten to a really kind of hot point where the owner was frustrated and our team was frustrated internally.
Yeah, take your test.
And so I wrote an email because I wanted to be the one to respond to this owner. And the reason why I'm pointing it out is even on paper to someone that you've never met before, we can have that influence. We can put out that love of the game and put out that presence. I got an email back this morning, and when I read it in the first paragraph, first of all, it said, thank you for your thoughtful email. I appreciate you taking the time to personally reach out and follow up with me. I can feel your passion for the industry and your business. I can also tell that you care about your future professionals, their employers, and your reputation. Now, I didn't write it with that in mind. I wrote it owner to owner, and I wanted it to be obviously well received. But everything that we do, whether it be our spoken word, whether it be our written word, is a reflection, and it says, do we love the game? You know, I mean, that motivated me to read that this morning, that she could feel exactly what I wanted to convey. What I wanted to convey was that we do care.
Well, that's why I'm married, because you're so good with words.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's funny to me. But no, that's true. Everything should say. And you know, everyone knows. You've got that. You've built that reputation. But some people don't even know it's necessary to build that kind of passion and legacy and reputation with what they do. You know, a friend of mine is going through a really hard time right now. And she said, I don't know what to do. I said, you go take yourself out for a cup of coffee, sit down and write everything on your love list. Your decisions should support your love list. So if you are totally into fitness or you're totally into managing service operations, whatever that is, what are the jobs that will complement on your love list? And I talked about, you know, a hairdresser going to beauty school. They have many, many opportunities outside of just being a hairdresser, right? I mean, it's not about that. The hairdresser, the license gives you an opportunity to explore many opportunities with that license. But if your love list is hairdressing, then you can take it any way you want to and where you want to. That's what I told her. Don't do anything unless you've got real passion for it. You know, when I think about taking a team to pull this off, you know, big things. I did this last month when we wrote our program. Big things are obvious. Small things aren't obvious. And a fire alarm is obvious. A severe thunderstorm is obvious. A tornado has touched down in the area is obvious. Take cover. A patient trying to leave is obvious. And the reason I tell you that is I was at and it's on another slide, but I was at the hospital the other night and they said cold gold. And I thought, geez, how many codes do they have here? And it was a patient trying to leave, escape or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, cold gold. And
Cold gold.
cold gold. And I thought, all right, it's time for me to bring this up again. What are our codes in the salon? Whether it's sanitation, rescheduling, you should have all those codes. I mean, presence is obvious too if we're paying attention to it. If we're not paying attention to it, and you don't even realize your business looks flatline. You know, I know I've got a personality that says I can bring the energy up just walking in. I know that. Other people know they have presence, that they walk in, they can slide in, and no one even knows they walked in the building. You've got to say, we've got to work on that. It's not okay to be an outsider looking from a distance in the salon industry. It wasn't in the restaurant industry either. You have to put yourself out there. I think about when you think about your presence in your business, how do you visually lead the energy of the business? Do you say, bring it up a notch, everyone. Come on, this doesn't feel good today. Let's go. Why are we dead in here? Why do we look so bored in our own business? Bring it up. Come on, bring the energy up. And I've used this example too before, but I've been in meetings with the direct reports that report to me, and I'll say, come on, you guys, this meeting couldn't be more boring. And bring your energy up, and they all sit up like that's going to make a difference. It's about being vested. And you know, when someone's not vested, it's a real distraction. It's a real distraction when someone can't contribute and give their energy and connect with the business. It's a huge distraction that sometimes has a negative influence on the business. Distractions can be positive, but they can also be very negative. And so how do you visually lead? Are you an owner that just says, God, I hate everybody in here right now? You just keep working and do more hair, and you say, I'm going to focus on my customer, not on my staff. That's harmful too. You have to be able to do those codes or whatever you want. Use your eyes. Use your eyes as leadership, or bring your thumb up, bring the energy up a little bit. What do we need to do? You know, if I walk in here and there's a song that I don't like, I say immediately, hate this channel. That's not who we are. You're judging all the time how people are perceiving you. Okay. How does the sound of our leadership inspire our team? Every leader has a reputation for their standards. You know, what are yours? And, you know, are you demanding that your people are all in? Are you asking, you know, some of them will honestly tell you right when they get there that they want to go home. I mean, that's not all in mentality. I mean, I need you to play the game, play it well, play it hard, and go home and enjoy the rest of your day. But every leader has a reputation for their standards. And unfortunately, some people have a leadership style that has no standards. It has inspiration, and it's almost begging people to be better, or trying to encourage them to be better, but there's no standards of how to get them better and what your expectation is. So you want to speak to this at all?
Well, I think that, again, if we think about the people that we look to in our industry, whether it be, a Robert Cromeans, whether it be a Kelly Cardenas, whether it be a Sam Mercado, whether it be and Angela Seminara, whether it be a Sal Masseri, those are people that have they have standards that are very, very obvious. And I think that that's really what you're talking about. It's what someone becomes known for and what has to be done in their businesses in order to work there. And so it's okay. First of all, as an owner, I want you to know it's okay to have standards. It's okay to have your standards. And don't measure necessarily your standards to the standards of what someone else says. What are your standards? What do you want them to be? What's important to you? And what are your non-negotiables? I had a conversation with a salon owner earlier this week and absolutely loved and enjoyed it because her standards are so strong and she's so focused on what it is that she wants and what her key performance indicators are in her business. And she just recently opened a second location, and I'm not surprised one bit that she's already making noise and being successful in that business because of the standards that she has.
Well, if you think about hers, this is an owner that when we first met her many years ago, she was a booth rent salon and didn't enjoy her business at all. It's not the vision she had for her business, and it wasn't the standard she had for herself. As a result of her having such high standards, she couldn't operate a booth rent salon where they didn't have to honor her standards. It drove her nuts. So she converted. We worked very closely with her, and she converted to a commission-based salon and created a reputation and a salon that is admired from afar and up close. But her standards are obvious. I think that when people lessen their standards or they give in, it chips away at the vision that you had for your business. I think that when you learn standards in a service environment, especially a service environment, it's because you work back. And I love this expression. The first time he said it years ago is you work from the customer and work backwards. Standards are in place to protect the customers back to the business. And you think about every leader has standards. It doesn't say every leader has wishes. What are your standards? What are your non-negotiables? And any leader, even me, I shouldn't be asked to lessen my standards as a result of I don't even know how to say it. Lessen my standards as a result to allow people to be more comfortable in their jobs. That's how I'm going to say it. Shouldn't have to lessen my standards. For example, in a salon, let's say that last guest is going to receive every step of the service that we have and put in position. These are our standards here in the salon. The sanitation, the last cup of coffee, the beverage service, every guest is going to receive that, even the last guest of the day. And how many people rush that last guest of the day? It happened in the restaurant industry all the time. That last guest of the day wasn't offered dessert. The last guest of the day, their dinner was turned in right when they went to the salad bar because they wanted that dinner to come out and they wanted to get out of the restaurant faster. That's an example of lessening your standards. They did, not you. And if it's not called out and led, that will become the new way at the end of the day. So every owner shouldn't have to lessen their standards of their business to make their staff more comfortable. Is going home more important than keeping a customer, right? So think about those things. This is an issue I really have a hard time with, because It's employees' job to follow our system. It better be specific enough for them to do so, but follow the system, not mess with it, or follow the system, not follow the system. Okay. So if you think about the daily check-ins that most businesses are doing to see if we're all in, I think that most owners will check on the productivity, they'll check on the traffic, the dollar per guest, take-home dollar per guest, how many guest services are we averaging per customer, how many new customers came in today, what's our rescheduled percentage. Those are productivity check-ins. And if I had to say, or I'm hoping, of course, that the owners are doing productivity check-ins throughout the day, there's another area that we need to start looking at very closely to be able to protect all in. And that's character and discipline check-ins. Where's our effort? Where's our energy? Where's our enthusiasm? How are we looking throughout the day? And are you feeling that effort, that sense of urgency? Are you feeling that hustle? There's people just don't have it. I look at it and I can even see if the boss walks in. I mean, I can remember even my boss walking in and it just getting my attention out of respect.
Mm-hmm.
So if the boss walks in like, hey, you've got a leadership problem. If they're not responding with you and want to show a better version of themselves, that's an issue to me. And see, that's going to get me fired up. Okay, so let's talk about these 3 E's. All right, so we have effort, energy, enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. These 3. And these are character issues that you have to lead and be able to hold people accountable for these 3 things. You know, you must hire for effort, energy, and enthusiasm. How are you going to do that? You think about, there's a, how do you want to say? When I'm brought in, I try to stop by an interview just even if I walk in and I'm not involved in it. And I'll say, how do you do? And I want to see their eyes. I want to see them look at me, shake hands. How did we find you? Or how did you find us? And just a couple of questions, but I'm looking to see if there's something captivating about them, something that I want to learn more. I want to spend more time. And I usually look at the HR department and nod and say, that felt good, or what was that? So you must hire for it. Now, how are you going to hire for effort? How are you going to prove effort? You've got to ask great questions. When were you responsible for effort in your job? Or maybe it's someone just out of school and they've never had a job before and they've just gone to beauty school from high school. How are you going to manage effort? Were you ever involved in sports? What kind of coaches did you work for? What did they expect from your contribution to the team? What was your first job like? What did they expect from your effort? And make them talk about the word effort. As far as energy, can you name some people that their energy sticks out to you and why? How would you define enthusiasm? Start asking for these things so it gets in their head that these are characteristics you're looking for, right?
Absolutely.
So success leaves clues and opportunities leaves clues. So let's talk about success leaves clues. We know that some of your top people, those top 10%, probably do this automatically. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones that you're trying to help understand what they can become. You know, opportunity leaves clues. Do they have that spring in the step? What's their punctuality look like? How's their image? What do they sound like? Do they have hustle? That spring in their step, you ask them to go do the towels and they're right up and they jump. Or like our daughter, everything is asking her to set herself on fire. They have constant effort to improve. They want to be a constant student. You're looking for these things. And if not, you have to address it. Just like that coach last night at third base. We've covered this already. What part am I not reaching you on? You have to be able to get that out of them. What do you want to say on effort? This isn't knowledge, Steve. This isn't knowledge.
I think effort needs to be a non-negotiable in business. And the challenge is keeping it across all levels. I mean, some salons you walk into, the brand new people have all the effort. The witnessable, where you can see it. You can see that extra effort that's being made to try and learn, to try and belong, to try and help, to try and understand. And it's how do we manage it there? How do we manage it for our people that are kind of in the mid-range that have been doing this for, say, 3 to 5 years?
Mhm.
And then how do we manage it at the top level, our legacy team members? How do we look at it? How do we continue to inspire? Because those are the people who can look back and say, hey, man, I've done this. I've been where you are. I know what it takes in the beginning. I've already put that effort in. I just want to work on my guests and enjoy. That's really where there's a key, because what got them there was that effort. What got them there was that openness to these things. You know, the spring in their step, and the punctuality, and the image, and the dialogue, and the hustle factor, and a constant care about improvement. And so, as soon as we stop that, you know, there's an old kind of limerick or phrase that says, when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. And sometimes we're better at paying attention to and expecting effort from the people that are green. I'm sorry, the people that are green. And we don't know for sure what to do with the people that are ripe. We don't know how do we take.
Steve, even we've done that. You know,
Sure.
And we just turn a blind eye, or we put our head in the sand, and because they don't want to give the effort, they don't want to invest, they don't want to do it, and God, it kicks us in the tail all the time.
What would you say is the difference between effort and energy? I know they're in this 3 E's.
I think energy is about. I think effort is a lot of times the hustle, the extra. You know, it's doing what's necessary. I mean, you look at. I'll give you an example. I know that when Tyler walks from room to room, he's got hustle. There's always a purpose. You never see Tyler do. He's going to walk with a purpose, and he's just fast.
So effort is a say yes attitude.
Absolutely.
Effort is willing to do more than others.
Well, yeah.
Energy is the way in which
you do it. And I think when you look at effort, you could ask a question, who can help on this? And there's some people that literally look right down to the ground. Don't pick me. Then you've got other people that say, hey, I got it. Or what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Those are the people that are giving you effort to support what we're trying to accomplish. The energy is the attitude and the way in which they do it. Callie, also very, very fast, always moving. Their effort and energy, and they're also two people that want to have things checked off the list so they don't have to think about it later on. They'd rather get it done right when they get here. Callie gets up at 3:45 every day. I don't know what she's smoking, but she gets up at 3:45, goes to bed at 8:30 every night. She wants to go to gym in the morning before she goes to work. I'm thinking, I cannot relate to you in one way at all. But that's how she works too. So when she gets in, she wants to get all of that done, have it all done, check her work, have it be what she needs it to be, and then go back to the other things. Now there's some people that won't give effort till the very end of the day. They'll coast all day and then they'll bring it up a notch for 10 minutes, right? So you're looking for that, but you've got to teach it. You've got to teach it and inspect it. You know, you look at energy. I love this. Have you heard about the layover test?
No.
Okay. If you would not want to spend a 4-hour layover with someone, they do not have the energy you need to wow your guests with. Help them. So if I have to, here's who you have to spend 4 hours with. Oh my God. And if you don't want to, that's a problem. If that would be like pulling your hair out to spend 4 hours with someone versus to say, I get to spend 4 hours with her today and just bring all that energy in, or just share ideas, let the conversation go where it will. Does time stand still with a person or does time fly? Because every guest has 45 minutes with someone. Do they have the energy that's going to allow that time to fly by and to be a positive deposit that day? That's all in. Now, you can be all in negatively too. Right? You go, wow, that was horrible.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because some people can put all that effort and energy and enthusiasm into
Be a negative.
a negative outcome.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I mean, those things exist on both sides of that equation.
You know, when they say that spending time with him is like watching paint dry, right? Does time stand still with a person or does time fly? And you've got to teach that. I mean, that's a staff meeting. We've got to work on our energy. We've got to work on, are we easy to be around? What's our conversation? Do we know? So I have to tell you what, my dentist appointment went very fast because I was fascinated with something. So this one girl grew up with a group of friends in Lockport. And they decided as adults, one person moved in on this street of people that are in their 50s and 60s and starting to downsize and everything now. Now they have on this street, they have 17 friends that have bought houses on the street that they grew up with. So they've been together their whole lives.
That's really cool.
All right. So there's 3 pools on the street. Anyone can use any pool, but they all chip in for the chemical services. They all have, they do all of the daycare. They all use the same daycare, so one mother can pick up or take home. They all do, they share co-parenting. They call it co-parenting because the whole street has embraced all the children. They do once a week or once a month ladies' night, once a month men's night. They have annual events. They meet every Sunday to see who's going out of town, who needs their pets watched, who needs to have people. They all have codes to each other's houses. It's amazing what they've created. I wish Dateline would do something like this in 2020 versus all the murder stories. This community of people have given energy and effort to life. She said, how many neighbors do you know, Terry? And I said, close? 1. She said, isn't that a shame? I'm close to 1 neighbor in my community. I've lived there 25 years. That's pretty sad to say. But they have decided that they were going to figure out how to be a community to each other. And I'm blown away by that. I said, so who started it? You know me, I've got to ask questions now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who started it and who came up with the idea and where do you go? And it's just amazing to me how this whole thing has created legs for them. And for example, when she goes to daycare, she said, they all know, we've all signed releases. So when I walk in, I have no idea how many kids I'm taking home. Because they'll call and say, will you have Mary pick up? Absolutely. And they use everyone for the sports and who's going and who's doing soccer. And she said, Monday, oh, that's what she said. Monday, I have pool duty. I clean all the pools on Mondays with 3 other women. We all have. So isn't that fun?
Never heard anything like that.
Never. And I thought, did that take energy and focus? Could a salon have that kind of commitment? They meet every week on Sunday morning. If you can be there for breakfast to talk about the week ahead and what people need and what assignments people have. It's just amazing to me. I loved every second of my appointment for that reason. Okay. So enthusiasm leaves clues. Tell your face. Are you happy? Feel inspired when you're around this person. Ideas flow. Greatness discussions. Now, that's enthusiasm. I mean, it doesn't say boring is sin, right? You've got to have someone that's going to challenge it, challenge the operation in a good way and feel inspired by it, not Debbie Downer. And gosh, Steve knows I can't be around it. I want to be around someone. Let me hear about it. I said to Steve this morning, Brian's getting ready to do a trip for us. And I said, Steve, I don't know how to meet with him to say, hey, Make sure you're focusing on these things. Make sure you get with him today and pump him up for his trip. And in a positive way. You're not just going, we're going with expectations. So even when you're sending someone to education, you're sending them with expectations. You want a great conversation when you come back. You want to hear, what ideas did you have for us? How would we pace this out? If they come back and they have nothing to say, that's an issue. Are we done? Oh, okay, good. Oh, so here's the codes. Remember, I told you blue was someone's dying, and they got to get there. This is hospital codes. Red was fire, gray, thunderstorm, black, tornado, and gold now is someone's leaving. I bet they have other colors. What are your codes? What are your codes for your business? And make sure you're doing it. You might have code platinum, right? Bring up the energy, how we walk, how we talk, our willingness to lean into the customer, our all-in, our intentions, our execution. You can tell when it's clicking. Some salons say, yeah, we really look good on Saturdays. Well, why don't you look good the other days? Why is it? Is it because you have more people there and you've got to have people to create energy? Then change your schedule so you look good to the community all the time. You have to have, what is your plan of attack? We're doing an event this week, and I probably have looked at that list 5 times. Do we have the right people? Are we going to have the right energy? Do we have all the systems in place so we can focus on the guests, focus on the models, focus on the artists? How does catering look? You've got to make sure all those things are in place so you're not a distraction or distracted when you have a house full of people, right? Oh, okay, so we're going back up one. Sorry. So when you think about all in, I think about how much time do we have left, Ryan? 10 minutes? Oh, good. Last night we were watching the Browns, and they started with their chosen quarterback. And the first half was like watching paint dry. The offense couldn't do anything. It was really terrible. And I was concerned. And then our quarterback got hurt, so they put in Baker Mayfield, sorry, Baker. And they put him in, and he was the #1 draft choice last year, and the Browns got him. First of all, the crowd started asking for him before the other quarterback was injured. He came in the last 40 seconds, I think, of the first half, and they scored 3 points. But he came in, and there's something that you witnessed. You witnessed energy. You witnessed enthusiasm. You witnessed a team that wanted to play hard for him. You witnessed the team's energy, not just his. You witnessed his say, hey, I got this. Let's go, right? And that's what you noticed right away. Talk about that.
Leadership is obvious. It's obvious when it's not you, right? When you watch, you can see it in sports. You can see it in football, basketball, even baseball. You can see it. There's something very special about Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant. You just know that they're leaders when they take the field for the Cubs. You knew when Baker Mayfield took the team out. I mentioned to Terry long before they took the lead. I said, there's something special there.
It's special about this young man.
And it's true.
So his first pro game,
that.
He didn't start, but his first pro game, he brought home a win.
And he's going to struggle like every new quarterback struggles. That doesn't mean that this is what you're going to see every game going forward. But the fact that you saw it on the first game, you saw team.
I think you're going to see the
team's
energy.
Response. You'll see that energy.
You'll see that energy. You'll see that leadership. You'll see that enthusiasm. You'll see that effort. You might not see the outcome be the same, but you're going to see all those three things. And when you look at what are the chances the outcome is going to be a win, he's got things in his favor. There's something special about this young man that's very, very contagious. He got the crowd fired up. He wasn't afraid to celebrate with his team. He wasn't afraid to celebrate on his own. He was studying when he wasn't on the field. Something special. And the camera was drawn to him, and the people are drawn to him, and his coaches are drawn to him, but his players want to play for him. That's why when you think about bringing up all energy, that other player is talent, or he wouldn't be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some fundamentals that he's missing in the game.
Well, I think the reason another player started the first 2 games of the season was he had an absolutely perfect quarterback rating through the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect quarterback rating. And they had to start him because he was a veteran and he had a perfect quarterback rating. He had to start the
All right,
season.
so change it over and flip it over for people that don't like football and are rolling their eyes at us right now. Roll it over to the salon industry. Roll it over to here.
Well, I think that you constantly have to be aware, look around, see who is the guest responding to, who are the rest of your team responding to, how do they, when you huddle them together, how do they look back at you? Are they, or when someone else from your team is addressing them? I had a chance, well, I don't want to go there, but it is obvious. It's whether we tune into it or not. It's a choice to tune into it. It's a choice to say, where can I witness this? Does my team want to play for me? Do they want to get behind? Do they want to support? And if they don't, what needs to change about me? That's really the key.
Well, I can see that. I also think that, do you have enough standards in place that they know how to win with you?
Well, is it clear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Most businesses, they say, don't fail for lack of effort, energy, or enthusiasm. They fail for lack of clarity. The team isn't clear on how they can win.
Any questions for us?
Not on my side.
On Jen's side?
Possibly on Jen's side.
Okay. So if we have to get to people, what time are we at?
I think we're good. We don't need to extend it. I think that's the message that we've got today. Thank you so much.
Go Browns? Did you cut us off?
I stopped the share. I'm sorry. You're still there.
We're still
Okay.
there? Go Browns. Do you believe Brian just did that? That's a Bears fan, I think, right?
That's enough Browns for the day.
Enough Browns. Okay.
All right.
See you
Thank you,
soon.
everyone. Have a great month.
Bye.